2 months before a game is supposed to ship, the whole thing is done. It's been in development for years. Marketing's ready to go. The lead developer walks into CEO's office and says, "We messed up. The art style is wrong. We want to redo the whole game." That CEO said yes, gave them 50 million more and another year. That game became Borderlands, one of the biggest franchises in gaming history. And that CEO, he's the same guy running the company that's about to drop GTA 6. Okay, so if you don't know who Strauss Zelnick is, he's the chairman and CEO of Take-Two Interactive, which is the parent company of Rockstar Games. He's been running the company since 2007, and I'm not gonna lie, before I went deep on this interview, I didn't know much about him either. But I just spent way too long watching this long-form podcast interview that he just did, and I genuinely came out of the other side feeling better about GTA 6 than I did going in. And I'm gonna tell you why. Because the way this guy thinks about talent, about creativity, and how to run a company, it maps directly onto what kind of game Rockstar is going to put out.
This is our passion. Are you gonna support us? And I said, yes.
I've spent 7 years working in talent marketing, and I can tell you, when a CEO talks about his creatives the way Zelnick talks about his, that means something. But first, let me tell you how he even got the job, because the story is unhinged. It's 2007, Take-Two Interactive is a disaster. The chairman has been indicted, the company is being investigated by 4 separate entities: the IRS, the SEC, the New York DA's office, and the FTC. They haven't filed financial statements, they canceled their annual meeting, the stock has collapsed. And Zelnick, who at this point runs a small private equity firm called ZMC, looks at all this and writes a memo to his team saying, "This is a disaster, stay away from it." Twice. He writes that memo twice. Then Carl Icahn, the billionaire investor who Zelnick had been doing free research for, hoping it would lead somewhere, calls him up and says, "Have you read the bylaws?" Turns out Take-Two Interactive had the most basic, unmodified corporate charter in Delaware, and buried in that charter was a provision that if 50.1% of stakeholders voted together in person at the annual meeting, they could fire the entire board and take over the company. No money required, just votes. Zelnick gets 48% committed and then finds out the hedge fund loaned out their shares to short sellers, meaning they can't vote. He's down to 22%. He walks into the meeting anyway, and he wins with 88% of the votes present. Friday morning, he walks into the corner office and becomes chairman. That's how this happened. That's who's running the company making GTA 6. Now here's where it gets painful, and I mean painful for the people who let this happen. Before Zelnick ever took Take-Two, he was running a music label called BMG, and while he was there, he started a small video game division. They signed a bunch of external developers. One of those deals, they helped fund and develop the first GTA. When a new CEO came in and decided to kill the video game division, Zelnick tried to stop him. He said, "We've already spent the money, let us distribute the titles." The new CEO said no, sell everything to the highest bidder. They sold their stake, 22% of Take-Two Interactive, for $14 million. 1 month later, Grand Theft Auto launched. Take-Two's market cap at that point was around 100 million. Today, the company is worth somewhere around 35 billion. $14 million. The man who made that call is not just the man running the company today. Just want to be clear about that. So here's the part where my background actually helps me give you something that I don't think other channels are going to pick up on. I spent 7 years in talent marketing. My whole job was understanding how companies work with creators, what makes a creative relationship actually function, and what makes it fall apart. When Zelnick describes how he runs Take-Two, I recognized it immediately. He calls it a rational organization, and what that means in practice is no chaos, no ego, no executives taking credit for what the creatives built, no one yelling at anyone, and no company going bankrupt. His pitch to talent is basically, we will give you resources to pursue your passion, we won't interfere creatively, and we'll still be here when things go wrong, because things always go wrong. He said, I'm quoting directly here, "You can replace people like me. You can't replace hit makers." That's not something most CEOs say. That's not something most CEOs believe. And the fact that Rockstar has kept the same core creative people for decades through massive hits and long development cycles, that's this philosophy in action. The Borderlands story I told you at the start, that's what it looks like when a CEO actually means it. 2 months before launch, 50 million more, a year full of delays. Because the creative team said it wasn't good enough yet, he said yes. That's the company making GTA 6. And if you've ever worked in the industry where creative people are treated like assets to be squeezed, you know how rare that actually is. Now I know what you're actually here for, so let me be direct. In this interview, the host asked Zelnick about timeline slipping, about delays, and about how he deals with not knowing when it's coming out. And Zelnick stopped him. He said, well, no, November 19th. I do know.
How do you deal with the timelines? It's just like the answer to that question is, I don't know, right?
Well, no. November 19th, I do know.
No hedging, no we're targeting or we expect. November 19th. He said it like it was already done. He also said GTA 6 has been pushed back about 18 months from its original date twice, and he confirmed in this interview GTA 6 is the most valuable entertainment IP ever created, not just in gaming, ever. With pre-orders going live and Take-Two earnings call coming up, we're about to find out how locked in that date actually is. But hearing Zelnick directly with that kind of confidence, that's meaningful. So here's where I land on this. I grew up in South Florida. I played Vice City as a kid. GTA has been a part of my life for over 20 years. Same as a lot of you. And if I'm being honest, I've had moments of genuine doubt whether GTA 6 is going to live up to everything we've been building up in our heads. But watching Zelnick talk about how he runs this company, about creative autonomy, about not cutting corners, about trusting his people, even when it costs money and time, I came out feeling something I didn't expect. Confident. This isn't a company that's going to rush a product out the door to hit financial targets. That's not who these people are. And November 19th is close enough now that I genuinely believe we're getting there. If you haven't seen the full Zelnick interview, I'll link it in the description. It's worth watching. And if you want to stay up to date with everything GTA 6 between now and launch, you're in the right place. I'll see you in the next one.